this is Alexis, and I wanted to discuss with you all my testimony. I know I'm pretty late in this, but better late than never, you know. My testimony, basically, I experienced a 3-year trial and tribulation starting at the age of 15. But I also want to talk about some other events that happened before that I feel would be significant in telling my testimony, which began when I was 13, when I was in 8th grade, yeah. I had been bullied. See, I was always the type of student who was quiet, who kept to herself, who stayed out of trouble, but I had also, I was getting picked on by some people, and I found it to be pretty challenging. I didn't want to tell my mom about it because, I didn't like drama. I didn't want drama. I felt if I told my mom we go down there, it would be even more drama. So I kind of kept to myself. I didn't really open up about it. So, it was just me holding in everything, which is mistake number one. Don't ever hold in everything. Let it out to God. Talk to God. Let Him free you from that stuff. But once I graduated from middle school, I went on to high school, of course. Because I stay in Detroit, and there were 3 schools that were known to be the 3 best schools in Detroit that I wanted to get into. But in order to get into those particular schools, you had to take a test first. I took that in the 8th grade, and I had gotten put on the waiting list for that. I also had to fill out an appeal packet as well, which I thought was a little crazy if I'm on the waiting list, but hey, I did it. So in 9th grade, I didn't go to that particular school that I was trying to go. Instead, my mother enrolled me into another school. Now, this school was known to be violent and dangerous because, I always see, they talked about it on the news a lot. There was always cops at the school, so I thought, it was going to be pretty bad or dangerous. I didn't want to go there. Though I know I had cousins who also attended that school, and they told me how it wasn't as bad as people make it out to be. I went there and I found out for myself. Now, another thing that was funny about it, the high school I went to in 9th grade, there were 4 different 9th grade schools inside that one building on top of 10th, 11th, and 12th. So it was like a 5-in-1 school, and I was in one of the 9th grade schools within that school. And within my school, it was like a total of 100 students. So I found that to be good because you were able to bond with people, get closer, have more, better connections. But when I got there, I grew to like it. I actually liked it. I met, found some cool people. I was doing good. Everything was going good. And my intent was to stay there. During that time, I didn't even want to transfer and go to one of those schools, even if they called me off the waiting list. My intention was to go back there in 10th grade. But towards the end of the summer, like the last 2 weeks, something ended up happening. There was a lady, she showed up to my house, and she said how I had gotten accepted into that school that I was trying to get into. And I was shocked because my thing is, she actually showed up to my house. Normally when you get accepted into schools, they will either email you, they'll call you, or either send you a letter. But no, she actually showed up herself. So I'm thinking in my mind, okay, maybe this was something God wanted me to do, because that's not every day that happens, and especially in the city that I'm in. So I'm like, okay, this is definitely a sign from God. However, I was so accustomed to being in my 9th grade school, I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay. However, I didn't have a choice. My mom wanted me to go and try it out. And I remember being so upset. I was shedding some tears. I did not want to go to that school. Anyway, I ended up going. And that's when everything changed for the worse, I was on, it was so different, I had I had an extra class, 7 classes, because in my 9th grade school, I had 6 classes. So I had to get used to their schedule, because their schedule was so different. And I had missed the orientation, because the orientation took place sometime during the summer. And you gotta remember, I got accepted the last minute, like 2 weeks before school started. So, I missed out on a lot of that information as far as what I need to know, where classes was. I missed out on a tour. So, I felt lost when I went there. There was one time in which I even went to the wrong class on the wrong day based upon how our schedule was, and I just felt so stupid, like, oh my God. But the pace, I found it difficult in trying to adjust as far as keeping up with doing homework in each class, because you have a teacher who will always give you a lot of homework. They would think like they're the only teacher that gives you homework. So when I would get home, I always had homework. I didn't have time to do anything else. I had to basically sacrifice what little social life I had during the time, as well as other things I wanted to do. My life was literally school, homework, eat, sleep. School, homework, eat, sleep for 3 years straight. And I found that to be depressing because, for one, I never really cared for school ever since I was in elementary school. And as I continued, grade up to grade, my dislike for it increased more and more. So you can only imagine that I really disliked school. But hey, I did what I had to do. I was very depressed at the time, And also when I was in school, because I was kind of quiet and kept to myself, I didn't really have many friends nor associates for that matter. So it was mainly just me. I had always been a loner, partially still am. I'm getting out of that though, but I didn't really have too many friends, and that made the experience a little bad as well. There were also students, who I didn't know. It's like they knew me, but I didn't know them. And I even had some of those students say that they didn't like me, and some of them even said that they hated me. They actually said they hated me. I was shocked, and I'm saying to myself, how do you even know me? You don't even know me. Why? And during that time, when I'll come home, I'll be very disturbed and bothered about that. Like, God, how do these people know me? What did I do? You would have thought I really did or said something to these individuals to where they really just dislike me, And then having to do work 24/7 because, I'm a person who takes grades seriously, so of course I'm going to do the work. I know that's putting more stress on me, but I didn't play about my grades. I was serious about my work, and I was going to do whatever it took, even if I had to stay up late at night. There are times I stayed up to 1 and 2 in the morning. That was like my new schedule. When I come home, do homework, stay up to 1 and 2 in the morning. And during the weekends, I had time to catch up, but it still wasn't enough. I was sleep deprived. I was losing weight. I was stressing out. I was literally crying like every single day. Like the first week of school for, I believe, 2 to 3 months, I was literally straight up crying every time I come home from school. There was times I was crying when I woke up to have to get ready for school. I literally had to force myself up out the bed. And when I go into the bathroom, to take care of my morning routine, I would cry then. I'll cry in the car. I'll cry leaving the school. There was times I even cried in school, like during lunchtime. If I was in the bathroom, I would pick my moments when I would cry. I found it to be very painful, and I didn't really talk to no one about it. I kept it all in, which is, again, mistake number one, holding stuff in, which made it even worse. And it was showing in me. Again, I told you I was losing weight. I was depressed. I had one teacher who pulled me off to the side and asked me, was I eating? During that time, I kind of stopped eating. Like, I took my grades serious, and this is bad because I was basically self-sabotaging myself. There were times when I was just so upset I didn't even want to eat. That played a role in me losing weight on top of stress. Because every time school started up, I will always begin to lose weight because I really dislike school that much. It stressed me out that bad, and many people didn't know that, and it didn't show at the time. But school would always stress me out, and I guess that's the stress I was placing on myself in trying to get good grades and doing what I had to do. But it took a toll on me, I would find myself crying, praying to God. It didn't feel like it was working. I knew God was with me, of course, but I still found it to be painful. Excuse me. So yeah, around that time, I was also going higher in God too. That happened when I got in 11th grade. I started finding out the truth of different things. I started taking my relationship with God more serious, but it was just that because I had so many school assignments, I couldn't focus strictly on God how I wanted to. And during the summertime, gosh, and during the summertime when I thought I had a break, nope, they gave me summer package, and I felt even more stressed. I felt trapped. I couldn't escape school. School. It was literally stressing me out. I felt burnt out. But even, through it all, I still tried to stay strong. And it was only God. He is what got me through that. Like, I sometimes sit back and wonder how in the heck did I really and truly survive that. And when I was at that school, my grades had seriously went down because I always been the type of student who took my grades serious, making 4 points. During that time, I never had nothing lower than a 3.8, but when I started attending that school, my grades went down to 2.4s, 2.5s. I wasn't used to making those grades, so you only know that took more of a toll on me. I didn't think I'd never get a 4.0 at that school, but as time went on, I did a lot of sacrificing. I put in work. I did a lot of studying. I stayed on it. I was diligent about it, and I accomplished what I was after. I ended up getting a 4.0 my senior year, last report card. I went out with a bang, and I was happy. I was determined about it, and I did what I had to do. God brought me to it. God brings you to it, He will see you through it. And I'm very thankful that God gave me the strength to really get through that, because that was like one of the most frustrating years of my life. My senior year, all of them, as a matter of fact, senior, junior, and sophomore year. And during that time, especially in my sophomore year, I found it to be difficult because during that time, my mother, she had gotten sick, and she was practically on her deathbed. And by the grace of God, He healed her. That took more of a toll on me around that time. Stressing about schoolwork, have enemies at school. I found it to be very stressful and strenuous, but now I see the benefit in it all because it all has played a role in what God wants me to do now. That stuff was preparing me for what God was bringing me into, and I'm very thankful for it, because if it wasn't for those experiences, I don't know where I'll be. I'm much more stronger. I'm much more stronger mentally, emotionally, in so many areas. It's ridiculous. It's definitely a blessing in every lesson, even in the bad. The God will use the bad to His advantage, and He uses that to make you stronger. So whenever you down, you having bad days, or either if you're going through your own trial and tribulation, it's a blessing in it. Try to see it. It's there. God uses these things to make you stronger, and I'm so thankful because God is so good. He has did so much for me to be so young. I mean, I'm currently 19, and He's not done with me yet. I have a lot to do. This is just the beginning. He still has His hands on me, and I'm very thankful because if it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't have gotten this far. I owe Him all the glory, the praise. He got it. The glory goes to Him. Now, the thing is, in regards to schooling, I should have taken a break after I graduated from high school, but I decided to go on. And my sophomore year, I decided to leave. I needed to really take a break because I still found college to be pretty stressful. I had 4 classes at the time, but I was struggling with time management, and it was really taking a toll on me mentally. And I just really and truly needed that break. But most importantly, I needed to focus on some other things that God wanted me to do, and I could not do that because I was getting too distracted with college. Now, I'm not telling all of you to leave school. I'm telling you to do what God wants you to do, because with some people, God wants you. He wants you to go to school, and He will lead you to the right school. But with some people, depending on the purpose that's on your life, He may not necessarily want you to go to school just yet, or even period. It depends. It's all about obeying God, and that's exactly what I did. I was afraid to do it at first. I never did nothing like that for God, but it's all about taking serious chances on faith for God. I don't regret it, not one bit, and I'll do it all over again if I have to. It's not over. And the thing is, because I took a serious chance on faith for God, God blessed me with favor. So whenever I decide to go back, or if He's calling me to go back, I'll be straight as far as with scholarships or things of that nature, I should be straight. It shouldn't be difficult, like sometimes when you leave school, people have trouble with financial aid. God made it where I wouldn't have to worry about that, thankfully. And I'm very thankful for that, I'm really and truly thankful. Thank God for it. So, basically, focus on what God wants you to do, even if everyone is going against you. Because, my mom, of course, she wanted me to continue going like every parent would. But the thing is, I needed to do what was best for me, and especially do what God wanted me to do. So, of course, I found it to be hard and strenuous having to deal with that and other opinions of what people may think. But it doesn't matter what people think. It's all about what God wants you to do. Don't be who you want to be and do what you want to do. Be who God wants you to be and do what God wants you to do. Many people don't want to wait on God. They want, I want money now. I can't wait on God. That's one of the biggest mistakes you can ever do. God created you. God's in control of everything. You can go to school, you can get that degree, and God could, you can get that job, and God could take that job away from you. It means nothing if you're not obeying God. It's all about obeying God, and you have to be willing to take chances on faith. There are so many people who take chances on faith, but are you taking chances on faith for God? That's a huge difference. When God's in control, you can never go wrong. I'm a walking testimony. This is just the beginning. I'm not even halfway done, and I don't regret the decisions I've made, not one bit. Although some of them could have been, these things that God has brought me to have been a little difficult, but I maintained it. It's made me strong, and I'm very thankful. God is so good. He deserves all the glory and the praise. Thank you for His divine protection. He sent His angels to look after me, to minister to me when I was going through it and really truly needed strength. It's all about obeying God, and if God brings you to it, He can definitely bring you through it, because I'm a walking testimony. Everyone's purpose is different. Figure out the purpose that God has on your life, because yours may be completely different from mine, and you can't be afraid to obey, because the thing is, God is not going to do all the work for you. He will show you what you need to do, and then you need to take those steps to go fulfill your mission. Do what you have to do. You have to step out on faith. Those who step out on faith really and truly get blessed, So, it's all about doing what you got to do for God. We are in the last days. We don't have time to play around. And more than ever, it's very important to obey Him. He controls everything. We living in a society where you have many people who think that, oh my God, I got to do this at this particular time. Honestly, yeah, you still have to abide by certain rules, but God is also in control. He has the final say so, and when you're following God, you can never go wrong. You can never go wrong. It's just that simple. I'm a walking testimony. This is just the beginning. I have a lot to accomplish for Him, and I will get it accomplished. And it's going, a lot. It will start manifesting. So I hope this testimony has helped a lot of people. I hope it's reached a lot of people, because I know there's many people who have, been in my situation, or has been in my shoes, or going through a similar situation. It's all about obeying, believing, having faith, and enduring to the end, because God said those who endure to the end shall be saved. So I really hope this has blessed and touched someone, and I really thank you all for watching, taking the time to watch and listen to my testimony. I do appreciate it, and have a blessed day. Much love to you all.